Hello everyone, my name is Paul Laporte and I am one of the creators of Caged In, the MMA combat card game. I wanted to do this short video for you today to take you through an unboxing of a copy of Caged In. It's actually the only copy of Caged In that exists in the world right now. It's a prototype. It's actually a prototype of a prototype. This is just the initial proof of concept prototype that we had made up just to see if everything kind of looked the way we wanted it to and would fit together into a reasonably sized box. So the copy that you actually would get in a retail version or through crowdfunding may look a little bit different, but a lot of this stuff is going to stay very similar. So I thought it was a good idea to just kind of show you what you would be getting in a copy of Caged In. So the first thing that you'll notice is the size of the box and the shape of the box itself. So instead of it being a square box, it is a hexagonal shaped box. We did this because we wanted the packaging to reflect the product that's inside it. You know, when you think of the name Caged In and you think of mixed martial arts, there's a certain image that enters into your mind, and it's usually some sort of geometrical shape that goes beyond just four sides. So we wanted to represent that with the box itself. Also, we think it just looks really good. It has a lot of good shelf appeal. It looks very interesting sitting on a shelf next to, you know, a bunch of other square boxes. So that was kind of where the idea for that came from. So if we go ahead and take this and open up the top, first thing you'll notice is the game board. So this is where all the action is going to take place with our fighters. This is where they're moving around on this board to try and get position, and you'll notice there are a couple spaces that are uniquely marked, which you can get into if you watch the rules review, but effectively we wanted to do that to encourage side-to-side movement in the cage as opposed to just going straight back and forth. So we added those spaces in a little bit later on, actually, in development of the game, to encourage people to go and explore around this space of the board. So that's what we have as far as game board goes. And then next we move on to the rule booklet. Again, nothing super exciting here, but it's actually a really well illustrated and designed book. We work with Madison King, who did a great job on the manual as far as the composition, the layout, and the digital design. These back couple pages are blank. That will be different when you get your copy. So that's there. Additionally, we have a couple other boards here that are the player boards. So these boards are here to outline effectively where your fighter has been hurt. So you'll notice they're both the same, so we'll just take a look at these here. So starting off with the head space, you have how much damage you're taking to the head, then damage to the left and right body, the left and right leg, and then finally we do have a fatigue meter here as well that will denote different issues you may have as your fighter gets more and more tired. We also do have some quick rules references on the corners of the boards. That's one of the things we might change in production, is kind of lighten these up, make them a little bit more legible. But effectively the information is going to stay the same. And then the same thing as for the red player's board. It's exactly the same, just in a nice shade of red. And you will notice that for these slots, this is a dual layer board, so it actually has a 3D element to it, which we'll get into when we discuss the damage cubes. But the player board, the fighter board, actually has the same thing as well, so they actually sit into the board as opposed to just resting on top of it. Again, another 3D element that we really liked. We thought it added a little bit of more dynamics to the game and what have you. So instead of burying the lead, we'll go ahead and move on to probably one of the cooler features about this, which is the entirely custom 3D miniatures that do come with the game. So we're planning on having figures for male and female fighter types in both red and blue. And these are, again, 100% custom designed from Sarah Masperi, who is a very good 3D modeler. I can't tell you how happy I was when I saw these. And these are going to be, right now, these are 3D printed figures. Yours are going to be obviously in molded plastic, which will be a little bit more durable, a little bit more, the colors will stay on them a little bit longer. And ideally, we're hoping that you could custom paint them if you should so choose. So that was the male model, and we'll show you the female blue model as well. Try and get the camera to focus in on her here. So we've got the female blue fighter, and then we've got, of course, the male blue fighter. Same thing as the red. And we have the red female fighter here as well. So 4 figures in every copy of Caged In that will be used to, and as you can see here, move around the board. So the red fighter would start in the red corner, the blue fighter would start in the blue corner. And this is where I kind of mentioned that 3D element of it kind of notching in. The actual figures for the retail copy of the game will have hexagonal bases, so they will actually like fit securely in here. These ones have circular bases, so they're a little bit different, but it is nice that, you know, it has, like I said, that 3D element of if you move the board around, they don't slide off their spaces or anything like that. So, moving on to probably the most used element of this game, certainly, but most games, the cards. So starting off, you first have the fighter cards. These are the cards that you'll use to choose your style of fighter, essentially. And if you take a look at them, you can see that there are 4 different fighter types. There's judo fighter, wrestler, pure striker, submission fighter, and we do have art variations of these for female fighters as well as male fighters. And each player gets, obviously, 1 deck each, so you can make your choice of fighter, potentially choose the same one. So there's actually 16 of these cards. These are tarot-sized cards. We like that because it gave a little bit more prominence to the fighter cards, and it allowed us to fit more information and the art together a little bit more easily than it would have on just standard poker-sized cards. So 16 of those in there. And then we have the stand-up deck. So the stand-up deck, these are going to be all of the cards that you'll be playing in the stand-up game. Both players will be playing from the same deck, so you'll be drawing cards from the same deck, so you'll all have kind of the same options to choose from depending on how the deck is shuffled and drawn. And there are takedown cards, striking cards. Each card itself has some characteristics, namely we obviously have the title up at the top, and then this is the location of the body that the strike will affect. This is the movement symbol, so if you discard this card for movement, this is how many spaces you can move your fighter around the cage. And then we have some special symbols. Combos will allow you to play cards consecutively. Counters will allow you to deal damage when using this card for defense. And then haymakers will allow you to deal extra damage and push your opponent back. Again, for more details on that, you can go ahead and refer to the tutorial for the game and actually how to play that. But we have, I believe it's 53 of these cards in this deck. And then, obviously, they have their own unique card backs from the other ones, so they don't get mixed up. And those go into their own spot in the insert. Again, the insert will probably look a little bit different when you get yours, but you get the idea. And then we have the ground game cards. The ground game cards are used in the ground fighting portion of the game, and you'll notice similar concept to the stand-ups in that they all have a location for the body and a title. And then in the upper right-hand corner, this is either a tap symbol or an escape symbol. This will determine if somebody is attempting a submission and you're overturning cards in your deck, whether or not you will tap or escape to the submission. You overturn 4 taps, then you lose the game. If you manage to hit an escape symbol, so the broken lock, then you get out of the submission, and then you can kind of choose where the fight goes from there. And as you can see, they have their own unique backs as well, a little bit darker backed to distinguish them from the stand-up. So in the event that you accidentally shuffle them together, you can break those apart pretty easily. And then the last thing that we have here is the damage cubes. So again, these are 3D printed right now for the prototype, but they will be probably like a black acrylic when they come, depending on how things go with the campaign, and maybe if we hit some stretch goals, maybe they'll be multicolored or they'll be a different material. But their purpose is going to basically stay the same, and that is to help to gauge damage on the fighter board. So as you can see, again, we have our fighter board here. We go ahead and take these damage cubes, and then if we take any sort of damage, so say we took a point of damage to the head, we would go ahead and just put that cube right there. Same thing for like taking some damage to the left body, you get the idea, or some fatigue, you can take that there. And again, this is where those dual layer boards really come into effect and come into an advantage, because this is very secure. If you nudge it, move it around, okay, well, maybe don't be that violent with it, but you know, if you just move it slightly or hit it or bump the table, which actually happened in some early testing where we just printed out sheets for these boards instead of actually using boards, and I nudged a table and everything went flying. These are, again, pretty secure. They're not really going to go anywhere under normal activity unless you're really going for it, you know, for something like that. So that is what you're going to get inside a copy of Caged In. I am really excited for people to get these into their own hands and play their own games. And I think you will be very, very happy and excited with the results of our designs. I will show you the back of the box as well. So let's go ahead and get this all packed away, closed up. We did try to minimize as much of the space as we could. And one thing that will probably be different in your copy when you receive it is, number one, we're looking to reduce the size of the box to make it really fit right against that board. And one of the reasons that we want to do that is, if you'll notice the underside of the top box wrap, you actually see like a cage pattern comes down. Our initial idea is to be able to take a player board and kind of like put it in there, and actually now you've got like a 3D cage that you're fighting in. This was an idea of a friend of ours, Matt. Thanks, Matt, for your help. He suggested this as opposed to, a plastic cage or something that you built up, something that probably wouldn't be as durable, maybe wouldn't transport as well, and this is worse for the environment overall. Now we kind of get the best of both worlds. We get that 3D element, and we get to minimize the packaging and reduce on the waste. But we do want the box top to be a little bit smaller to more tightly accommodate this board to, emphasize the effect. Probably make the sides of the boxes a little bit lighter too, but that's something that you can't see as well because it's bright light shining on it. So let me go ahead and put this away. And close that up. And we'll flip over the other side. This is another thing that'll change. I probably want to put the back design like this, but that's just my OCD there kind of going off. So this is the back of the box, which is pretty much done, save for a few things, barcodes and whatnot, but description of the game, some pictures to kind of splash things up, credits, player information on the side here. Again, ages 10 plus, 2 players, gameplay is in about 20 minutes, and then we do have some nice designs on the side. You'll notice this box is a little bit worn because we've been playing with it. We've been trying to get our use out of it to test things out and see how we like the components. So we've got 6 sides. There's our player information again. There's our logo. MMA Card Combat card game. And then that is it. So that is a copy of Caged In. Again, thank you for your time. And again, this will be available via crowdfunding on GameFound. This is planning on being run through the spring, so we'll probably start that campaign around the end of March, and it'll run through April is the goal, and then assuming everything goes well and the campaign is successful, we are planning to have it released for retail and shipping out to backers by no later than the end of the year. So thank you for your time. If you have any further questions, you can comment on this video. You can always find us in the Foam Hammer Games Discord, or if you're watching this on the GameFound campaign, obviously you can leave a comment or a question there as well. And I will see all of you soon with some more Caged In information and gameplay. Thank you. Take care. And now, a few cat-related outtakes. This is the proof of concept prototype that we had initially created to just make sure that all the pieces and everything looked kind of the way we wanted them to. And oh, here comes my cat. Hi, Robbie. Okay, time to go, buddy. There you go. Goodbye, Robbie. Okay. So this is the proof of... Boop. In this unboxing is the shape of the box itself. It is a hexagon-shaped box. Hi, Robbie. Okay, he's nudging against... Okay. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye. Boop. With the name being Caged In, obviously that evokes a certain sort of line of thinking. All right. Robbie,